How's it going?
Good, man.
Good to see you.
You too.
You guys ready? My name's Austin Burke. I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm a recording artist here in Nashville, Tennessee. Born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm a fifth generation native. So my great grandfather was actually the mayor of Prescott. My dad always was videoing. He had the, big camcorder and he'd be filming everything. And we were at a rodeo in Arizona and he thought I would like the cowboys and the horses and the bulls. And so he filmed that. But what I really liked was the national anthem sang before. At 2, I'd say, play it again, play it again, play it again. And so my dad would sit there and rewind it, play it again, rewind it, play it again. And I learned all the lyrics to the national anthem, and my dad's like, this is not an easy song. And here I see this 2-year-old singing the words. It blew his mind. He goes, people have to see this. And so my dad filmed me singing the anthem and sent it to the Phoenix Suns, Diamondbacks, to Rosie O'Donnell. He sent it to Disney. He sent it to Garth Brooks' brother. And he sent so many tapes to Garth Brooks' brother, trying to get to Garth. His brother said, please stop sending me mail. Garth wants nothing to do with your kid. So my dad was persistent with that. I sang for the Phoenix Suns, and then my dad filmed that and sent that again, the next round of videos to everybody.
Ready on your mark, get set, let's go! It's the Rosie O'Donnell Show!
She had me on her show when I was 4 years old, and I sang Friends in Low Places, and I screamed when it went to the chorus, and it ended up being a memorable moment on her show that I guess was viral before viral went viral, and she had me on again when I was 8. And actually, when I was 4 years old on the Rosie O'Donnell Show, she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because I met Garth a couple months before then, doing spring training for the Padres, and he was in a baseball outfit, and I was dressed as Garth singing the national anthem before the game. We got a picture together after the game, and he, in my head, was a singing baseball player. So I told her I want to be a singing baseball player. That's what I was. I was a singing baseball player for most of my life. Nashville's tough. Nashville is a beast of its own. The thing about Nashville is it is like LA and New York in the sense of competition. There's so many people every day that move here. And I think the cool part is to make that leap from your hometown to Nashville takes a lot of courage. And so there's a lot of people here that are courageous and have taken risks and aren't wanting to just do the norm and not wanting to just fit into society. They want to be different. They want to make a change. And with music and art being so relevant here in Nashville, you see a lot of that. And a lot of these people that are downtown playing are the most talented people you'll ever see in your life. I mean, they are incredible. Every single person, guitar players, bass players, drummers, singers, you'll see someone playing the fiddle. I can say I'm one of those people is just incredible. Really. And so I know a lot of people that when they play on Broadway, they have made it. They have made it in their mind and they're happy with that. I have bigger dreams for myself. I want to be on tour. I want to be on a world tour. And I think what you asked the question, what does it take? What it takes is stupidity. It really does. It takes a bit of being naive and not listening to critics, putting on blinders, because I battle that demon every day of, can I make it? Can I do this? And the second that I move home, I don't. Walking down Broadway, the people that don't make it are the ones that move home. There's a lot of people that have made it out of their small towns that playing on Broadway to them is making it. And for me, I admire that. I love that. And when I go downtown on Broadway, I'm not looking at these people saying, oh man, thank God I'm not doing that. I'm looking at them saying, they have that dream still. They have that spark. Where did mine go? Let's get mine back. Let's get back to why I moved to Nashville. I moved to Nashville to make music, and I moved here to write songs. And I wish sometimes that the best song won, but it's not always true. I worked at a restaurant that a lot of executives would come into, and I saw it every day. I mean, I saw the checks handed, the cash handed, this, that, the Tiffany bags, Gucci bags, Louis bags, vacations. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that happen to get songs on the radio. But what's exciting for me is my songs have never been played on radio. What I've done is I've changed the narrative to, hey, you can do it on your own. And I'm starting to be that guy that people look at and say, hey, Austin did this. You can do this. You can change what's been happening for so many years. And you don't need that much money. You don't need that big of a team. You just need social media and good songs. Good songs do still matter. I find the best songs come from when I'm being honest and real. And so I like to write about stuff that I'm passionate about. What inspires me most is my wife. I've written some of my best songs, most popular songs, and personally my favorite songs about her. She's a rock star, and so she's easy to write about.
Take my days and take my nights, take my hand and hold on tight.
She's a trailblazer number one. She's my best friend. She is the hardest working person I know, and she just has the biggest heart. There's not a person on this earth that has a bigger heart than she does. I think with Lexi, she looks at a problem and she wants to be the answer to the problem. She wants to fix it completely.
The pandemic happens and everything stops for everyone. And we had just had a tornado come through our neighborhood, the neighborhood of the Airbnb we had started. So we were already losing our first bookings and our neighborhood was destroyed. And then we were going into worldwide shutdown. And I just remember that time so vividly because I had taken a video of our neighborhood just in shambles. And the news was showing so much, but I posted on TikTok. It was like a brand new app at the time. And people were commenting, how can I help? What can I do? And I started an Amazon wish list, you know, waters, diapers, people needed baby food and stuff like that. And so I posted that on my TikTok. I barely had any followers, but I got a lot of people contributing on my Instagram. And so that was really cool to have just different people from social media reaching out, sending things from Amazon. They were showing up at our doorstep, and then we were able to distribute them. People were asking people to send spare change on Venmo for like random things. And I was like, I'm so surprised no one has done this trend but to pay it forward or help somebody out. And so I was like, I'm gonna do this Venmo challenge thing, but ask people to send me spare change and we'll surprise a random server wherever we go for my birthday, leave them a fat tip.
She was hoping for $500. She ended up getting $3,000 and we left three $1,000 tips. And I remember after the last one, it's so funny, I said, man, that was so fun. It sucks we're not gonna be able to do that again. And sure enough, we've given over $300,000 and she's just kept it going and going and going. And I think during a really dark time during the pandemic in 2020, her Venmo challenge was a light in a dark place, and it gave people hope. We talk about negative comments and negative things, but there really are a lot of good people in the world, and there really are a lot of people that just want to help. And I think it's important to shine light on those people. And now Lexi started with 3,000 followers, and she's almost at 2 million. And I like to say her followers are 2 million really good people. So I'm very proud of her.
I'll never forget the time, his first round, maybe it was his second round of meetings with record labels. He had another friend who had just recently signed within the year, and we were on a songwriters retreat. And he was talking to that friend, was like, hey man, like I'm going into my third, or maybe it was the fourth meeting. And he was like, you know, I've met everyone, I've done this, I've played, they've had me back. They want to give me a final tour of the office to meet everyone in every room in every department, and then I'm meeting with head guy at the end. And his friend at the Songwriters Fest was like, holy F, dude, like it's happening. Like that's what happened to me. That was my final one. They offered it at the end, all this stuff. So we were dying. We were so excited. So he goes to the meeting and I go to Party City and I get balloons. I get a banner, I get all this stuff, and then I go to a liquor store and I spend like $300 on like nice liquor and all this stuff, and I deck out our apartment. And it's been 4 hours. I haven't heard. I'm like, it's happening. I'm calling everyone. Everyone's calling me. I'm like, I haven't heard yet, but like we're on hour 4. House is set, and I just get a phone call, and he is like so upset, and he's like, nope. He shook my hand and said, he shook my hand and said, thank you so much. We want to hear some more music, and we'll keep in touch at the very end. And he started crying, and then I started crying, and I'm panicking, and I'm like, what do I do with all this stuff? I don't want to tell him, like I can't keep it up. So I'm like taking it all down and everything, and I tossed the cake, and it felt like a scene from a movie. It was so crazy. And so he's all upset, and I kind of don't even remember what happened after that, but I didn't tell him about the apartment decor until like a year or 2 ago, because it was just so sad. And he's had a couple other ones very similar, not as far as that one went, but I mean, it is hard. And then I can't even imagine what he goes through, because once you get so close to so many meetings, it's hard to even get excited about meetings now, which that used to be a win too. And so again, it's so hard because you want to stay positive and look at the bright side, like, heck yeah, you even got a meeting. But now it's like, well, shoot, you've been to meetings. And so it's hard. But, you know, we just keep reminding, he's had so many amazing wins, like getting to play at the Opry and stuff like that. I'm like, that, not just anyone gets to do that, you know, don't forget. And like constantly putting everything into perspective. So that's kind of how I try to help him get through the public rejection.
I had a moment about 1.5 years ago. Obviously, you know, the pandemic was hard on booking agencies and just shows in general. And so my booking agency ended up wanting to part ways with me. They couldn't book shows, and, you know, made me feel like does anybody even want to listen to my music? Does anybody even care? If I can't play shows, then what am I doing? That's what I love. That's my lifeblood. You know, when I perform, it gives me the fuel to do everything else. And so losing them was a big blow. I also parted ways with my old publishing company. I have a new publishing company now, but there's been a lot of things that have happened here where I just haven't felt like I fit in. And I think that's been the hardest, the most rock bottom, is not being from Georgia, not being from the South, not being one of the good old boys. I've never really fit in.
This is my favorite verse I've ever written. I've never been stuck in the mud cause it don't rain in Arizona. Never shot a buck, but I killed a couple rattlesnakes. Woo! My rivers are dry, my cane is grand, my neck ain't red, it's tan. I'm country love, blue wranglers and chucks, throw some coke in my jack when I need me a bug. Mayberry raised, more white collar made, my side of the map, it's all biscuits and gravy. Yeah, I might not chew the backy in a stick, but I'll roll up a backwood and take me a hit. Ain't on my neck, ain't in my truck, it's in my blood. I'm country love, I'm country love.
But I have fit in my own way, and I've created my own way, and that is something that I'm very proud of and excited for. I'd like to be the guy that creates West Coast country, you know, and kind of brings light to the country music that my people and my friends listen to. I just feel like there's a huge opportunity for people all over the world to listen to country music, not just in the South. It's so much bigger than just Southern music. It is worldwide. And I want to be a global artist and a global country artist.
I love how that dressing's off your body, how you curl up your hair.
I remember I was trying to get my song on the radio, and I actually partnered with a company, and they gave me some money to go on radio tour. And I would walk into these little radio stations, and, you know, I'd be one guy, and he'd say, why should I play your music? And I said, well, I have currently one of the top streaming songs in the world right now for country. And I'll never forget, this guy said, what the hell does streaming matter for me? And it was kind of at that moment that I realized, I don't know if I'm ever going to be played on radio. And I still hope, I still dream, I still want number ones. I still love radio. I still listen to the radio, but I do think there's another path now. I do think there's another opportunity. And now, radio won't play your song on radio unless it's streaming well. So it's kind of ironic how things have changed in just a couple of years. When I was working at the restaurant, I met a guy named John Marks. And John was the head of SiriusXM, the highway, when I first met him. One day, it was actually during CMA Fest, I walked in and I had shown him some songs a few weeks earlier. And I walked into the Palm where I worked and I walked up to his table and brought him his food. And he said, "Hey, Austin, I put your song on my playlist." And I was like, "Cool, man." I thought in my head it was his personal Spotify playlist. I didn't realize he put it on the Spotify playlist. So he put my first song, Sleeping Around, on Hot Country, which is the #1 country playlist in the world.
Feeling lost in this world of smoke and mirrors. Hungry eyes pick up lines under neon lights.
And it changed my life.
And the bad girls wanna be better, and the boys just wanna get lucky tonight. Uptown, downtown, everybody's sleeping around. That's all they ever wanna do. I don't wanna sleep around with every girl in the world. I want a girl worth waking up to. I want a girl worth waking up to.
A couple months later, I was at the downtown YMCA and I get a call from Stormy Warren. Stormy is one of the guys at SiriusXM. And he said, "Hey, Austin, I just want to let you know your song is going to be played on SiriusXM." And I'm thinking to myself, Sleeping Around? Because that was my single at the time. He said, "No, actually, Whole Lot in Love." Little drunk tonight, trying to write this song. Trying to get it right, but it might turn out all wrong. I said, "Whole Lot in Love." That was just on the EP. That wasn't even a single. It was just a song I put out. He said, "Man, we love it. We're gonna play it." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I didn't realize how big that was at the time. Little bit scared to death, 'cause I ain't been here before. Yeah, I get a call from John Marks, and he said, "Hey, Austin, I'm putting Whole Lot in Love on Hot Country." I said, "What?" I'm an independent artist. I have 2 songs on the biggest country playlist in the world. Within 30 minutes, my life changed. I went into the chapel at the YMCA and I was just crying, thanking God. I mean, that moment changed my life forever. So I went back into work a couple weeks later after all this has happened. My song's now playing on SiriusXM. I got 2 songs on the biggest playlist in the world. And I bring a lobster to this guy in the bar. He looks up at me and he said, "Are you Austin Burke?" And I'm wearing my apron and my collared shirt and my tie. And I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "You sing Whole Lot in Love?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Can I get a picture?" And I'm like, let me take my apron off. Let me take my tie off. So I took all that off. I ran to the back. We got our picture. I ran to the back and I said, "Hey, boss, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I'm done. I can't. I'm too famous for this job." And I quit. And honestly, I have not looked back ever since. And that's the last time I worked at that restaurant, is because that guy had recognized me. I mean, I do run security for my wife now for her shirtless cowboy show here and there. But yeah, last real job for sure. My last day at the restaurant, I overheard a couple servers say, "We'll see him back in a couple months." And I never forgot that. I was meant to hear that. Like I knew I was meant to hear that. Fast forward to a couple years later, I was working, grinding, writing songs, putting out music, and I get a call from Vince Gill to play the Grand Ole Opry. And, I'm bawling. I call my grandma, my mom, my dad, everybody. They all come out. And it was my Opry debut.
I'll tell you what, if I never sing another day, if I never get to do music ever again, I have made it in country music because of everybody in these seats today at the Grand Ole Opry.
I wanted to have an after party at that restaurant that I worked at. Not trying to be petty, but I kind of am petty sometimes. I asked the GM to have 2 specific servers that said they'll see me in a couple months wait on me and my family that night for my Opry debut. I talked earlier about Garth Brooks and who he was to me. You know, he was my hero. I wanted to be a singing baseball player. And now I'm about 21 years old in Nashville, moved to Nashville because I wanted to be like Garth. And I'm the food runner at this restaurant. And my boss says, listen guys, we got to get this room ready. Garth's coming in. I immediately go into the offices, go onto my Facebook, print out the picture of Garth and I when I was 4 years old and he's in his full baseball uniform. And he's in a private dining room. Trisha was actually being inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. So her whole family was there. His whole family was there. There were probably 20 people, you know, their closest friends. I talked earlier about being stupid. This was a stupid moment. I set his Caesar salad down and I put the picture right over his Caesar salad. Probably not sanitary, but definitely something I thought of in my head that might be cool. He looks up at me and I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. And he says, Peoria, Arizona, 1998. And I said, I think that's when it was. He looked at me, he stood up. He takes a picture in front of all of his closest friends. He goes, look at this kid. This is him now. He was 4 years old, Peoria, Arizona, 1998. He goes, listen, we're gonna have this dinner, but I would love to talk to you. I would love to talk to you after this. So please, I'm gonna have somebody come get you. I'll come get you after. Would love to talk to you after dinner. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? And we had, I wanna say about a 15-minute conversation with Garth. And you know, you talk about meeting your heroes and hoping that they are who they are. And he was everything I had dreamed and hoped times a million. A year later, I do a show in Detroit, and it was a huge festival type show. I was one of the first people to play, and there were probably 10 other artists after me. And they said there's a special guest, and it was Garth Brooks. And so Garth comes in. I, of course, had to meet him before the show, before he goes on. And I say, hey, you know, saw you about a year ago. And he said, man, I remember that. How's everything going? How are you? He goes, well, you obviously took some of my advice. You're here now playing. And he goes, how's the crowd? I said, well, I think they hated me, but they're going to love you. So he loved that. And he sang his music and came off stage and gave me a big hug right after his performance. And that's the kind of artist I want to be. That man changed my life, and he's somebody that has inspired me so much from day one. And to have him be as cool as I had dreamed he was, it was very special. I have this weird dream that happened when I was about 7 years old, and it woke me up in the middle of the night, and I was just crying at 7 years old. And it was this voice telling me that I needed to be something important, to be a light to the world. And then as I got older and I realized that I loved music and I loved what it did to me and how it changed my life. Sorry. Didn't think I'd get emotional. Music got me through some really, really dark times in my life. And I knew that music was that light that voice was telling me to do. And it's taken a while to figure that out, but sorry. I'm so grateful for music and what it's done in my life. And hearing stories of how my music has helped other people. That's why I do it. Sorry, I didn't think I'd cry your eyes. Sorry, guys.
You don't need to be sorry. It's real. It's true. He's been through all the rejection from industry people, trolls online, some family stuff, but he keeps chugging along, and I'm so proud of him. He's exactly where he needs to be. The performing is what fuels him and what he's so good at, and I feel like that's just when he can connect most with the people who loves his music.
People are consuming music faster and more than it's ever been done. And it's exciting for me as an artist because there have been so many people that listen to my music and they connect to my stories of being real and living in a city, or, you know, having a love gone bad or a love gone good. They connect with those things. And I think that's what country music is. It's so much bigger than this niche that we sometimes put ourselves in. And I want to be the person to kind of get us out of that. Where I'm from, people love my music, and people in Australia love my music. People in Europe love my music. People in New York City and Canada love my music, because I'm not singing about stuff that they can't relate to. I'm singing about stuff that they can relate to. And country music, to me, everybody says, man, country music has changed. Country music needs to go back to the classics and be what it used to be. But I'll tell you right now, if Garth Brooks never made it as big as he did, I would not have heard of Garth Brooks in my town in Phoenix, Arizona. He got so big that I heard him. And I listened to Shania, I listened to Garth Brooks, but it took those people for me to go back into the genre and look up Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, the classics, you know, the heroes. But if it wasn't for Garth, I would have never heard of them.
No, I'm not sure how to say it.
Struggle is good. Struggle is really good, because if you don't struggle, then you don't appreciate the success. And if I didn't go through all the struggle I went through in my life, I would never appreciate anything that has happened to me. I really struggled a lot, not with myself, but seeing negative comments for my wife, because she was doing such good in the world, giving back. I said, man, if people are going to be nasty to her, this woman is literally an angel on earth, giving back to people in need that really needed help, there's no chance for any of us. The difference is I signed up for it. She didn't. You can say whatever you think about me, because my music is me. But I also think it's important to give more power to the positive comments than the negative comments. I was looking through, I had 200 comments on a video. Video went viral, 200 comments, which is a lot. I was looking at my feed and I saw, this song sucks, this isn't country, thumb down. And I was like, damn. And I went through and I responded to every single comment. And I said, Lexi, for some reason, out of 200 comments, 3 were bad, and I only saw those 3. And I think that's where we're having a hard time as a society right now, is because those 3 comments have so much more power than the 197 positive ones, and that's not right. I'm out a couple dates with Billy Currington on his arena tour, and I'm really excited because I've never played arenas before. I've never been in that environment, and you know, I think it's going to be good for myself, for my band, to see where we could be and see where we have the opportunity to play on our own one day. It is a big moment, and I think, you know, you asked me earlier what's the most frustrating part about Nashville. I think the most frustrating part for me is not being able to show people what an entertainer I am. And I say that because I love entertaining more than anything in the world, and I'm the best at entertaining. Over songwriting, over musical ability, over singing, I love to entertain because I love my fans. And when you get me on that stage, that little kid that was dressed like Garth comes out again, and I'm just ready to put on a show. And before I hit the stage, I think about all those negative comments and people told me I wouldn't make it, and people that said I would never get to that level, or nobody cared about my music. And I just go out there and I prove them all wrong. And everything in life goes back to baseball in my mind. And right now I'm in AAA, and I wasn't a top pick in the draft. I was a low pick in the draft, but I'm slowly but surely beating out all those guys that got picked before me. And one day I'm going to be in the big leagues. And when I get that chance, I'm telling you, all I need is that chance, and they're going to see.
For people who keep feeling like they're being rejected in the music industry or in Nashville, my best advice, don't reject yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Just stay you, stay authentic, stay true, and just keep believing in yourself, because that's the best thing you can do. Because if you don't, how are you going to expect a whole city to? So just stick with it, have the perseverance, and put yourself first.
My wife always says her favorite quote is one by Steve Jobs, and it's, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking backwards." And I love that quote because it's so true. In my life, I've been labeled so many things. When I first moved to Nashville, I was, the West Coast guy, and then I, put out music and I was the streaming guy, and I've never really felt like I fit in, and, but all I know is I'm going to tour with Garth Brooks one day. I'm putting that out in the universe. That's going to happen. I don't know how, but it's going to happen.
My blood, I'm country enough. I'm country enough, yeah.